Don in London, hello. My videos, all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, and my behaviour was equally addictive around people, places and things, and trying to be perfect. And I've hit a glitch over the last few days of not being quite myself, which is caused by me, basically, not taking my own advice. So this is my video for February the 3rd, and I'm 2 days late doing it, but the writing, which I'll be sharing in a minute, will be all about on the day it occurred. I just didn't feel right about doing a video. I was tired out, and I've been fretting about things. So even when you get to my age, you will still fret about life, trying to help people, how to be useful, all that sort of stuff. And it's very easy to dip back into old ways of life, which may be helpful or unhelpful, and in my case it was unhelpful for me to try to do something, and I'll explain as I go. So, in recovery, one day at a time, from addiction to alcoholic, what helped me most? Well, having got professional help to identify my malady, a very fatal one, because it was shortening my life considerably and stopped me living any sort of life in the end. 24/7 drinker, I needed help. So professionals helped me get to a place of dryness, that is, not drinking alcohol. And then it got a bit difficult how to maintain this sobriety, and I needed help. And professionals suggested AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, not because they had a fascination for it or even an understanding of it. It just seemed if people went there, they got help on any given day from other people who were in recovery one day at a time. I never speak for anybody in AA. I can't, because everybody is unique and authentic, and the fellowship recognises that people do not need to be represented. They don't need leaders in fellowship. They simply need people to be equal and live life as best they can. So what is AA? Now that I don't speak for it, I can only speak about how my recovery is working. I'll share what it is, and then you can make your mind up whether it may be something that you like and enjoy, or something that you feel you ought to do because it's good for you, or simply go because you meet people who are like-minded. They just want to be sober today. And at the beginning of every meeting, this AA preamble to a meeting is shared. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. So if we stay in it, we try and help each other. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. And it neither endorses nor opposes my videos, because they're not about me representing the fellowship. All I do is share how it's helping me and maybe friends around me, but I'm never specific about my friends. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So anonymity gave me sanctuary to find a place to be myself, or to learn who I could be, or who I am on a daily basis. And for me that's as good as it gets and needs to get. But through time, many connections, and it's always the many voices in fellowship which help me. So my thoughts and feelings for February 3rd, 2013, timely reminders of the old insanity. And this is me. February is all about step 2 for me, which is came to believe a power greater than me could restore me to sanity. And that is the many voices of wisdom in fellowship about sober living, how to be sober. The rest of my whole life is up to me. What I do with my life is my affair. Yeah, and it's the same for everyone. We still have our lives. Indeed, we get our lives back. If we choose sobriety, we can live life and make good choices, and bad choices, as it turns out in this. So timely reminders of the old insanity for me, the old life, doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. Step 2, all about the restoration of sanity, contingent on the day I ask for help. And this also applies when I'm asked to help with matters of a past professional nature. Sometimes, just because I have the ability to do something, it would be madness to go back into the old life and revisit my own insanity. In my life, growing up was difficult, and we do not know any better than a life we have had so far. What seems ordinary to some of those who grow up in fear, hiding in isolation and not feeling right, that was my ordinary. Never comfortable, always fearful. And I didn't know this was out of the ordinary. It's not out of the ordinary for a lot of people. A lot of people do grow up in fear. Never comfortable, always fearful. If we don't know any better, other than other kids seem to be okay with life as it unfolds, why did I just feel wrong most of the time? The answer was that life is not only difficult most of the time, it was horrible because I didn't understand it. I did not understand life. The good news, I became a chameleon. I could be what you wanted me to be, and I suffered many trials and tribulations. Perversely, it made me good at helping other people later on in life. And I've just noticed a typo. It made me good, not maybe good. Sorry, I'm correcting as I go because I've been out of sorts these last few days. A friend asks me for help, and I try to see the possibilities of how to help. And then the old possibilities impact on today, and I see the new possibilities in a really good endeavour initiated by my friend. So I see the good in what this person's trying to do. Within hours my head begins to swell with all sorts of ideas and possibilities connected to the project of my friend. Almost like my head is firing up and seeing a clear strategy and vision for the project and how to put it into action. And this is not what they asked me to do. Project management skills, almost like booting up a computer, everything starts to work again. In my head, that is, my thinking, intellect. Sleeplessness and the nightmares of old times pervade. Then this is what happens. I can't shut off the thinking that's going on about how good this thing could be. And the old nightmares of what happened to me. I had a nervous breakdown through work exhaustion and just simply being wrong-footed, my own wrong-footedness as it happens, because I couldn't accept what other people were doing, which was wrong. This is the old life, not the project I'm talking about. So there's no peace and serenity inside me, going back to the old life and what happened and the ending of that career. I realise knowing I can do something with my thinking takes no account of the impact on my emotional and spiritual well-being. So my emotional and spiritual well-being is doing what is good for me now, not what I used to do. Emotionally reminded of the bad times, breakdowns and psychosis caused by post-traumatic stress disorder, I had to stop looking at this new project of my friends. I could endorse the project and let it go quickly if I wanted to keep my sanity, because some of us do go through really traumatic experiences, and it may not seem traumatic on the outside because we don't show it, but inside we're just broken down and busted up, and reminders of what we used to be good at that leads us into exhaustion. And it's not fear of repeating the same thing over and over again, it's that something's broken inside and it doesn't work like it used to. And that's the unfortunate part of being a human. Some things do break and are beyond repair, both in the physical way and also in an emotional way as well. And that is recognised. People are under profoundly long war experiences, or just one really bad experience in war, or a traumatic experience causes a stress disorder which is triggered. So I don't like to say no to things, especially in areas where I have connection and a willingness to want to be involved. So immediately my head's saying, "Oh, I can do this." That's my thinking. And then realise that the involvement stirs up old events from years past. Just because I can do something in the short term, I know where it leads long term, back into the insanity of the old life. And this is very disturbing, because who wants to let anyone down? When they see you may have a skill, an aptitude, or to do something with them, it really does come down to revisiting enough of the madness, in my case, my personal madness, in trying to do something from the old life which hurts me. And it reminds me, a gentle and emphatic no is better than a half-hearted yes. And this is not the no to my friend, this is me saying no to me. I shouldn't be doing this. My friend has done nothing wrong. Being restored to sanity is contingent on my spiritual condition, and that is always on a daily basis, and requires me to understand my emotional and spiritual state. It was disturbing to understand just how quickly the old life will impact again, and to continue to help in a new endeavour which is really worthwhile and worthy of success. It puts me back into the old life, and I must not. I have to say to myself that I need to say no to me. My feelings are out of whack. My thinking and ego suggesting I can do this. And yet there are the nightmares, or the sleeplessness and disturbance. The fault is mine, wanting to be helpful, and the best way to be helpful is to say no. I take on responsibility for that which is not mine to be responsible for, and that really buggers up my head. Sanity is keeping on the new path, doing new things, and being involved in new enterprise and endeavour. Not going back to the familiar, and that is somewhat hard and difficult when the mind engages, and I could see the possibilities in this profoundly good project. Anyway, it was a timely reminder of step 2, another typo. And for me, doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result is mad if I go backwards. It's a bit like drinking. If I were to drink again, would I expect it to get better? No, the simple answer is no. I'm broken in that respect. For me to do the old stuff, it has to be a firm no, or the personal demons of the past come back to haunt me. Odd, really. Sometimes I need these reminders. It is not a punishment. A couple of days of disturbance and a long discussion with another friend restores me to a position of understanding what I can and cannot do. Thank you, dear friend, who came round Saturday morning, out of the blue, actually. Daily, the can do and cannot do is really important. It is so tempting to think I can do something, and emotionally the knowledge is profound. Yeah. I cannot do that something without going mad again. It would not be a drink. It would be a return to a life which either rejected me, or in some way I rejected it by having a complete breakdown mentally. Thank God for friends, those who invite us to try something out. Yet another typo. Yeah, where are we? I need to do my typos. And friends who challenge and ask why on earth would I want to go backwards into that old life, which is what my friend on Saturday said, because I say it to them as well. Well, you know, you're really good at doing that. Are you sure you want to be really good at doing that? And what is the cost? So they were good at helping me resolve my issues about wanting to be helpful, but at the same time completely undoing my own peace and serenity and sanity. Yes. So, thank God for friends who invited us to try out something, and friends who challenge and ask why on earth would I want to go backwards into that old life. Simply, I cannot, or I lose my emotional and spiritual peace and serenity. Just for one day, it could be a lifetime. And the problem is, if we do go backwards, we can find ourselves back in the old mess. So sobriety often means we have to break away from a lot of things which we were good at, that made us unhappy. So I'm learning, even years later, and this is, quite a few years later, the story in between that particular life and this particular life. Some more madness, doing impossible things in industry, which I shouldn't have been involved in, and other organisations. It wasn't for anybody to be doing it. Anyway, that's another story, and one I probably won't even get round to. But the point is this: I learn every day where I can go back into the madness of, yes, that's so attractive because I know how to do that, and then realise, actually I can't do that without becoming mad again. Doesn't mean I'm going to drink, but it will give me a happiness, big time, because it just reminds me of a time which I cannot put back together. That is the breakdown. So, better to have a mini breakdown for a couple of days and a taste of my own madness. So I'm thankful to both friends, one who invited me to look at something, and the other who said, "Are you sure you should be looking at this?" Not in a protective or telling me what to do, but are you sure about what you're doing to yourself? So me and my responsibility is to understand that the Serenity Prayer helps in all conditions. So to good, or simply to God, depending on your belief system, because fellowship is common ground with many beliefs, and you have the absolute right to your beliefs. So to good or God, whatever works for you. God, grant me the serenity to understand. No, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is always for me, in the moment, by the minute, by the hour, and just for today.